Gentlemen, this is Miss Humbert here, and today we're going to be doing Unit 1 Notes 2. So we're going to be talking about points, lines, and planes, which is something we're going to be working with virtually every day throughout the geometry course. So first of all, let's talk about a point. A point is a location with neither a shape or a size. Okay, so we name points by a capital letter. So, for example, if we had something like this, that point we would label A, and we would say point A. Next is a line, and a line is made up of points with no thickness or width. There's exactly one line through any 2 points because it's a straight line. Okay, and so a line can be named by either 2 points on the line or a lowercase script letter. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what that would look like. So if we have a line, let's say on that line we have point P and we have point Q. Okay, so we could call this line PQ and we put a little line over the top of it. We could also call it QP with a little line over it. Now sometimes next to that is a cursive letter or the letter L. So we also could say that that is line L with a cursive letter. So capital letters, non-cursive, designate points. Okay, put 2 points together, put a line over it, and that's one way that you can label a line as long as those 2 points are on the line. Next, let's take a look at a plane. A plane is a flat surface made up of points that extend indefinitely in all directions. There are exactly 1 plane through any 3 points not on the same line. So assuming those points aren't linear, there's going to be a plane through them. And there are a couple ways that we name planes. The first is with a capital script letter. And the second is with 3 points on that plane. So let's go ahead and let's draw this out and let's see what we get. So if I have a plane, this is a plane. A plane is basically a shape. And on this plane I have point B, point G, and point P. And I also have a capital cursive K. So I could say that this is plane BGP. I could also say it's GBP. So I group any 3 points together to make the line and that, or to make the plane, and that's a way we can name the plane. We also could say that this is plane K because it's a capital script letter, and that's how we can name that plane. Now let's go ahead and let's take some time to look at some of our vocabulary. So first and foremost, what does collinear mean? Well, collinear are points that lie on the same line. So for a point to be collinear, it has to be on the same line like we did when we were talking about a line. Point P and point Q were collinear. For points to be coplanar, they need to lie on the same plane. If you think about company, they're keeping each other company. Collinear, they're keeping each other company on a line. Coplanar, they're keeping each other company on a plane. Okay? Finally, intersection is the set of points that 2 or more figures have in common. So where things intersect. If you think about the word intersection, if you're driving around down the road, because I know you all are getting your license soon, and you hit an intersection, 2 roads are crossing at that intersection. Okay, so just kind of think of that when you're struggling to remember what that means. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some kind of ideas. So first of all, 2 lines are going to intersect at a point. So if you look at the diagram that's on your thing, we have line L and line M. And you'll notice on your note sheet that they cross at a point, and we just labeled that P if you look at the diagram on your note sheet. However, 2 planes are going to intersect at a line. So if you look at your shape down below, we have plane A and plane B, and they're intersecting at line R. So I'm going to use a lowercase cursive letter to represent that intersection. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look. Name the geometric term modeled by each object. So we're talking about a floor. So look down at the ground around you. What do you think that floor is? Is it a point, a line, or a plane? Well, the floor is going to be a plane, okay, because it's a shape. It's not a line. We're talking about a push pin. A push pin is something that you push into a bulletin board to keep it up. Well, a push pin is just a dot. So a push pin is just a point because it's just one dot. It doesn't have any shape or thickness. And finally, the intersection of two walls. If you think back to what we just talked about, two walls are going to be planes, right? Well, we're talking about the intersection of those two planes. And just right before this, we talked about how two planes intersect at a line. So if you look at the intersection of two of my walls in this room, it's going to intersect at a line. Now let's go ahead and let's take some of this into practice. So apparently the diagrams didn't show up on my smartboard, so let's take a look at your sheet. So look at the shape that's on your sheet. It says name a line containing the point K. So if we look where the point K is, there's a number of ways that we could name it. So let me go ahead and let me just briefly sketch this on there for us. So here's we have J, K, L, all of which are points on here. We have point M, that's not collinear, and this is named as plane B, even though it's a little bit cut off. So one way we could name this is just the line JK. We could take the points L, K. You could do any combination of those two letters to name that line containing the point K. It says name a plane containing the point L. Well, this entire plane contains the point L, so we could name it letter B, capital letter B. We could also name it with 3 points on the line, which are J, K, and L. So we could call it plane JKL. We also could include M if we wanted to and do KLM, just like the airline. So that's another way that we can do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at this guy right here. And apparently this didn't want to show up either. So I'm just going to go ahead and sketch that in. So there's plane K right there, okay? So then we have this line going through it called line M that has the points B and the points C. Then we have this line coming down through it. That's going to be, here's D, and then we have another line coming down through C, and those lines are intersecting at A. So let's go ahead and let's answer some of those questions. It says name 2 collinear points, so points that are on the same line. Well, A, B, and D are all on the same line, so those are collinear points. Okay, A and C are on the same line, so those are collinear points. Identify a line in this picture. Well, we could talk about line M, lowercase cursive. We could also talk about line AB, and we note that by putting little arrows above it. We could talk about line AC, again, noting that by putting little arrows above it. That's another way to do that. Then for number 10, identify a plane drawn in this picture. Well, we could do it by the capital cursive letter, which is K. We can also do it by 3 points that are actually on the plane. Note that A and D are not on the plane. So the only letters that are on the plane, we're going to have to add another one. We'll call this E. Okay, so we could do B, C, E, because they have to be directly on the plane. Okay, so let's take a look at number 11. What is the intersection of BD, which is this line here, and AC, which is this line here? You'll notice that they intersect, and they intersect at the point A. So that's point A. Then what is the intersection of K? Now, K is the plane and the line AD. So that line AD, the reason why it's dotted on the bottom is to show that it's going through the plane. So it's actually connecting with the plane at point B. And last but not least, what is the intersection of K and this line M? Well, if you notice that the line M is actually sitting on the plane, which means the entire line intersects with the plane. So we're just going to write M. Okay, so let's take a look at number 12. It says, so we want to draw and label a figure for each relationship. Line N intersects plane P at point I. So first, I like to draw my plane. So here's my plane, plane P. And we're going to have a line N that intersects. And I draw a dotted line to show it goes through. So I'm going to intersect. So here's line N. And I'm going to do a lowercase cursive. And it's intersecting at point P. So this point that it's hitting the plane, I'm going to label that I. Okay? Taking a look at number 13, it says lines B and Y are coplanar in the plane Q, but do not intersect. Well, let's just start there. So first, I need to draw a plane Q, and you don't always have to draw the same plane that I do. You can get real creative with it if you want, as long as it's close. So I do a capital cursive Q to represent plane Q. And so lines B and Y have to be coplanar, which means they both have to be on this plane. And we're going to use a cursive lowercase b and a cursive y to represent each of those lines. Line X intersects B at point C, so it's going to intersect both of them. So here's my line X. It's going to intersect B at point C. So the point where they cross, I'm going to label C. It's going to cross point Y at point D. So I'm going to go ahead and label that point D. Last but not least, taking a look at number 14. So planes R and B intersect at X, Y. So this is a line that they're intersecting at. So first, let me just draw my plane R. So here's my plane R, and I'm going to make it cursive. So then, going through that plane, I have another plane, like this. Okay, so there's a line that they intersect right here. Okay, so this is my plane B that's going up vertically. And I need to name that line that it's going through. So I'm going to pick 2 points of intersections here and here and name it X, Y because I know that those points intersect both planes and that's how we can name that line of intersection X, Y. So that concludes your note video for today. Go ahead and show me a completed note sheet when you are done. Thanks for listening.